and welcome back to our channel.
Our first video uploaded with little baby Amber.
Hello.
And little baby Mila. Mila is here. Yes, hello. I know, we still give you lots of attention. Don't pretend that we don't. Come sit this side with me.
You go sit with Daddy.
Come sit with Dad.
That's it.
So that we don't have to make sure you don't slam your
Poke her in the face.
Amber's face. There we go.
So, baby Amber is now 5 days old? 6 days old?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
5.
4. That's the thing, she was
Sunday.
born really, yeah, I guess.
Sunday's the whole day. Yeah, her day Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, so she's 5 days old. And she was already changing so much. Like, honestly, it's crazy. I look at her now, because we've got some videos coming of, like, our first day with her, bringing her home from hospital, all of that. And to me, she looks like a completely different baby. She's got, like, really chubby cheeks when she was first born, and she's already growing into her features a bit more and everything. Like, I just... Say hello. She's very sleepy.
Oh, little nice.
Hello. Oh, little smile. It's not really a smile, it's just an involuntary movement at this stage. They can't actually smile yet. Hey. Okay, so, birth story. I can't believe we're here to tell the story of baby Amber's birth.
We thought we'd start with this video. Like I said, we have filmed videos before this one, but we thought we'd kind of do it in order that it made sense. So we wanted to put a birth story video up first. As you guys know, we were hoping to film the labour, which we didn't get too much footage of for reasons we'll go into in a second. We do have clips coming up of the labour, but yes, this isn't a labour video, unfortunately. It's just a birth story with clips.
We started the labour vlog.
We did start the labour vlog.
So, for anyone that's been following our pregnancy journey, we were planning a home water natural birth. We had been talking about it for literally so long and planned it to like a T, hadn't we?
Since we were kids. We met when we were 17 and we just started planning this natural water home birth.
Luckily we did know that birth can go a million different ways, so it wasn't a shock when it didn't go to plan, because it definitely didn't. But we had planned in this room here, we had a birth pool set up behind us. And everything was ready. We had a million electric candle lights lit, and we'd planned something very different to what ended up happening. So you'd know that very well if you've been following all our pregnancy videos. So on Saturday the 3rd of April, my contractions started in the morning. I kind of woke up and I was just like feeling a bit crampy, like things were getting on their way, and I was like, oh, I think this is it, but I wanted to like keep moving and kind of ignore it for as long as possible. Yeah. So like we went for a walk, didn't we?
We did, didn't. It was weird because you had the cramps, didn't you, Friday night and Thursday night. And we know that kind of, if you go to bed and they stop, it was probably a bit of false labour, a bit of preparation. But yeah, they kind of were there Saturday morning when Carys woke up.
Went on a walk and they were getting pretty intense. Like I thought sort of 5 minutes into the walk that we were going to stretch. And then we were going to have to go home. Because I was like stopping and being like, it was getting to a point where I had to stop walking, stop what I was doing, and sort of breathe through the contractions, and they were getting pretty intense. Hello.
Yeah, we had some advice from a midwife to kind of, in early labour, just to try to continue as normal as long as you can, and then when you got to points where you kind of couldn't walk through the contraction and couldn't talk through the contraction, then it's probably best to kind of go home and start timing contractions a bit more.
So that's...
Oh, I think Amber just did a poopy. That's why she was fussing.
Yeah, no, it was.
She was doing a poopy.
And she's gone straight back to sleep. Oh, that's lovely.
Nice clean baby from Mummy. There we go. 20 minutes later, about half an hour more like, we're back.
Changed, fed, we're back. Sleepy baby.
Can I move the camera a bit? Because I feel like I'm now...
Do you want to, shift it that way. I think we were saying the day that it started.
Yeah, so Saturday morning, contractions on a walk, didn't stop when you were walking.
Yeah, so they were getting intense. Came home, had a bath, wanted them to keep coming, obviously. And they kept coming in the bath, and they were coming quite frequently, weren't they? Like every 2 to 3 minutes, and they were getting quite strong, and that's when I started the vlogging, which I'll insert here. Hello guys, so we've just called the midwife out. Welcome to our, hopefully, labour and birth vlog of our baby girl. I'm not sure how long I'm going to have till my next surge, but whew, So I just started this morning. Had like my first proper contraction this morning. And then I can never tell whether one's coming on or not. And they're getting more intense. One of them made me cry, and I don't even think I'm in active labour yet. So I've been tracking it on the Freya app. For anyone that doesn't know, we are planning a home birth, so James is frantically pumping up the pool. It's already like basically 90% pumped up. He's just pumping up the rest of it, and sort of starting to fill it because it takes about 40 minutes to fill, and I feel like things are moving quite quickly, to be honest. So baby's still moving. Baby still seems really happy in there. And, oh gosh, why did I lie back? I can't get up. And yes, a midwife. We just rang the midwife and she's on her way.
Hi guys, so I've just been told by Carys to kind of get on with sorting out this room, so I'm just quickly filling up the birthing pool now, and then I'll just get some towels, some puppy pads and stuff like that, and just kind of make sure the sofa's doing what Carys is doing so incredibly well. So good, and we're just waiting for the midwife to come now to kind of just make sure she's in established labour.
So yeah, things were getting pretty intense, so you'd started setting up the house.
Well, no, at this point,
Carys was quite quick.
It moved so quick. Carys was in the bath, and previously with the kind of fake contractions, I was told not to get too excited, because I had got a bit excited with the fake ones in the evenings. So I was like whistling along in the kitchen, I was like making some food, having a little, doing the dishes. I was like, I'm not getting excited, I'm chilling. I was like, and then I regret that now. Should have started moving a bit earlier, potentially.
There was quite a lot to do, wasn't there? You had to like set up all the sofas and stuff. You wanted to pump up the birth pool a bit more.
Couldn't find the pump.
Then you started filling the birth pool.
Yeah. And the contractions were getting bad, strong contractions, to the point that you had to kind of quite focus, didn't you, when you're breathing during them and stuff.
And I was like, call the midwife.
Yeah.
I remember being like, call the midwife now, because one of them made me cry because it was so strong, and I'd been timing them on the app for ages, and the app was saying to basically get in touch with the hospital or whatever, and they'd already told us, because it was a home birth, to call half an hour before we usually would. So I was like, call the midwife. So you called her, they were on their way, you were running around setting everything up.
Setting up the sofa, I started filling the birth pool at this point. Now the birth pool takes about 40 minutes to fill.
Yeah.
Carry on.
And then the midwife turned up, we were both in the lounge, I was sitting on my ball going through a contraction.
I was still running around like a headless chicken, I don't have a clue what I was doing.
You were doing well, the birth pool was nearly filled up, like everything was going well.
My temperature gauge in there.
Yeah.
The sofa was ready.
The sofa was
packed
ready.
with, tarpaulin and towels.
Everything.
I know.
Midwife turned up, she was really lovely, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She was so nice. And she would watch me do a contraction, she felt my stomach, she was like, oh, these are going good, you're doing really well. And she was really positive as well, because I was a little bit surprised how intense I found them, to be honest. Obviously, we were doing hypnobirthing, and there's the whole, like, you know, their power, not pain. And I can see that, but it did take me a little bit by surprise how they're sort of indescribable until you've had them, which is what everyone says. But they really are very, very powerful. And I was upset with how I was I thought I'd cope a little bit better with them. But she seemed to think I was coping with them really well. So I was really proud of that.
Yeah, everyone along the journey thought that Carys was coping really well with her surges. I think she's just being a little bit harsh on herself, that's all.
Thank you. You expect you like have a vision of being like dancing through labour and like, we got this,
I've never had that vision.
I was there like but anyway, the breathing helped loads and it was fine.
Oh yeah, the hypnobirth, I think without it you would have just started panicking.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. The 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out, and you knew it so well, and you kept telling me to relax my shoulders.
The back massages and
all
stuff.
Of that was amazing.
I just wish I could have. I think that was the awkward thing that I found with setting up for the home birth. Obviously, we'll go on to why the home birth didn't happen, but in the process of setting up, it was awkward because I didn't feel like I set up too late, but then I wanted to set up. I feel like I should have set up earlier because I wasn't with Carys for a lot of it, doing the massages and stuff, which really did seem to help.
It did, and that would have helped a lot if we...
Yeah.
But, do you know what? There's no way of knowing.
No.
That early morning first contraction, it could have been a whole day until...
Yeah, exactly.
It just happened to go from, I got out of the bath, and then I seemed to be needing you constantly within like 10 minutes. So there was no way of you knowing. So they come in, they do the routine checks and everything, and what she did was she took my blood pressure and she tested my urine. Now this is where it started to go downhill. So she took my blood pressure, bless her, because she obviously...
I think that's just what they do.
No, but as in like, she took it and she was like, trying to stay calm and not be like, right, okay. She took it 3 times or 4. I can't remember how many.
She was like, just go down.
She was just waiting for it to go down because it was really high. And then it wasn't going down. I think it was going up at one point, and she was like, So then she tested my urine, and basically I had very high blood pressure and protein in my urine, which unfortunately is signs of preeclampsia. Now, if you've never been pregnant, you probably know nothing about preeclampsia, and honestly, it's a very complicated thing because it's only in pregnancy that you can get it. And we knew a lot about it because I had some signs and symptoms throughout my pregnancy. And it's one of those things that if you have signs and symptoms, they take it very seriously. So I had been in and out of hospital a couple of times to check for it throughout the last few weeks of my pregnancy.
They know it is that it's the placenta letting off some sort of hormone that affects your blood pressure and potentially affects your kidneys and your liver.
Yeah.
The issue is they don't know why some placentas do that. So they don't really know why women have this.
What I did know about it is it can come on overnight, it can come on in labour just all of a sudden, which is obviously what happened to me. But I don't want this to be a horror story at all. Like I never want any part of this video to be a horror story. Like, although if you are planning a home birth, yes, preeclampsia can come on straight away, and so it's something to know, but it's very, very rare, so it's not something to sort of worry about until it happens. Yeah, and basically it can cause seizures and fits and brain... I was trying to read up earlier so I could actually give a clear thing of what it was.
Still not massively knowledgeable on the whole
it
thing,
basically can be fatal to you and the baby, so they take it very seriously. So she came, she diagnosed me with that. She unfortunately said straight away, I'm really sorry, but you're not going to be able to have a home birth. We're going to have to get an ambulance into hospital because they don't know how quickly this is spreading. It can spread into your blood, and like I said, it can spread very quickly around the whole body and be fatal. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what they
My mum assisted me trying to fill up the birth pill at this point.
It can. So they wanted to get us into hospital straight away to have all the things that we needed to have doing. So that was it. That was the literal reason that we weren't able to have our home birth. And everything changed in that 5 seconds. I took it well. We both took it well.
So well. I was so proud, I don't know if that's the right word, but like you were just amazing.
We got on with it. I did have a little cry.
You did, but that's perfectly natural. You're going to have a cry, no matter what kind of thing.
Yeah, of course, because I was just upset, but I was also happy. I just kept saying to her, I just want to be safe. I just want the baby to be safe, and I just want to go wherever is safest. And yeah, so the next thing was the ambulance turned up. They turned up really quickly. 4 of them.
There was an ambulance and a paramedic in a car. So there were 4 of them kind of, coming up our drive.
They were all so nice, and they had a wheelchair for me and everything like that. But I wanted to walk, so we walked down, and I would say this section next was probably one of the hardest parts of the birth, because it was when it was leaving our home, which was where I sort of visioned our birth for ages, and I'm going to cry if I don't be careful. And
but you always say you had such a positive birth.
I did. I had the most amazing birth. And just going through the contractions and going through and trying to stay calm whilst getting onto a stretcher in an ambulance, and then the drive to the hospital was really hard. It was wobbly. It felt like ages, even though it was 5 minutes.
It was so close and yet so far.
It was so far. And it was just hard.
Yeah. Like, just to give it another bit of background, at this point Mila had already left. She left in the morning to go to my parents, and then we had the hospital bag ready. So always pack a hospital bag, even if you're...
That was one of the best things that we'd done, was pack that hospital bag. And I did pack it because I knew that these sort of things could happen. But in the back of your mind, you're like, yeah, but we're not going to need it. Like, I will do it because everyone says you may end up in hospital or whatever. But that was amazing. We scooped it up collected some electric candles.
Yeah.
You got loads of good stuff, like toothbrush, snacks.
Yeah, we didn't think of that. The thing is, I didn't pack a hospital bag because I guess I never thought of packing one, especially during COVID. I was like, well, if Carys goes in, I wouldn't be going in straight away anyway. But I was like, oh gosh, I've got to pack a bag, so I got like a massive hold all, and I was just like slamming loads of clothes in. I came downstairs with all the electric candles there, and I was like, throwing them all.
I was like, don't forget the candles, because we knew we wanted to take in all the things that were going to keep our, you know, part of our birth experience the way that we wanted it to be. I just remember so strongly that my contractions were getting more intense, and there was one where we were waiting by the reception just for like literally 2 minutes before they put us into the room, and I was facing you, and you were stroking my back, and I was leaning my head on your chest, and for the first time since like we'd left the house, it was like, it just felt like me and you, really calm, like, and the contraction was so much easier to deal with. Like, it felt so, I don't know, it just felt really powerful, but exactly how I wanted it to be. Whereas obviously a lot of the journey in couldn't be like that, because people were asking me questions, they were taking my blood pressure, they were doing all this, they were doing all that, and then that one little contraction in the hallway before we went into the room, I was like, this is how it was meant to be.
Yeah, I guess things like that are a bit upsetting, isn't it, to think of, but...
Okay. Calm. Fine.
I'm absolutely fine.
I'm absolutely fine. Oh, I'm fine, honestly.
So it's the first time you cried about it.
Don't worry about me, Amber.
I guess you haven't had to talk about like the whole birth story to anyone.
You know,
because
I
spoke about it to people, but I guess you haven't had to.
No, but also they're not sad tears.
No, I know.
That's a happy tear, because I was just so happy you were there, and I was so happy that was, you know, part of hypnobirthing that was really true. It was me and you, and it was
against the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Against your uterus and placenta.
Against everything.
Placenta.
Anyway, so
at this point, just as from my husband's point of view, which no one knows about, I was still really positive. Like, I'm such a positive, optimistic person, but I'm also quite a real person in terms of I kind of always think positively that the best is going to happen.
Yeah.
And then if the worst happens, I'm pretty good at dealing with it. And so at this point, like she hadn't specifically said you had preeclampsia.
Yeah.
And I was still going, oh, the doctor will check you over. He'll be like, oh, actually, your blood pressure's come down.
Did you?
And we'll just have a great birth.
Really? Did you think they were going to be like, oh, you guys can go back now, jump in the pool when you get back to the house?
I don't know if I truly thought that.
Yeah.
But like that was my positive thinking coming in. And I always think positively until I'm told what's actually happening, and then I deal with it. And I'm, like I said, I'm quite good at dealing with things.
You are.
I never think of,
That's
this is
nice,
probably going to happen. I think the best is going to happen until...
I think that's a good way of being. But yeah, then 2 minutes later, your world came crashing down. So we got put in the consultant-led unit room, bed, sat on the bed, and that again was a really sort of difficult time, because there were a lot of... Oh my goodness, hello.
Watch where your paw goes. You didn't touch Amber though, that was good.
No, you didn't.
Just be careful you don't pop your paw on her head, okay?
That was a really intense time. So we were in the room, lots of people coming in, doctors, midwives, anaesthetists, going through everything with us.
This is where it
took my blood
for me.
Were
you aware of how many people were in that room, or were you quite...
Yes, because they were asking me questions.
Yeah.
And
I think about 6 people introduced themselves.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
And they were asking questions, and then I was having to say, oh, sorry, and have a contraction, and then sort of think about what I wanted to say and answer, and that was really difficult, but it was fine. We were fine, you know, and I felt safe. I felt really safe.
That is the main thing.
That was 100% the main thing. I just thought whatever happens now, I'm in a really safe place, so that's great. Long story short, what happened was they, you know, took my bloods, they took everything, they said, you've got preeclampsia, and then they basically said, we need to get the baby out ASAP. So that's like their cure for preeclampsia is literally to remove the placenta. This is what they explained to me. I literally remember the guy being like, the placenta needs to come out. Yeah, he was so lovely. He was like, and the only way to get the placenta out is to get the baby out. So we're going to have to get the baby out ASAP. He was like, so we need to, and the only way to bring down the blood pressure and get the baby out safely was to have an epidural, which at
he
this
did give
point,
another option to be
he
fair,
did.
but he said he'd recommend the epidural. The other tablet form would make the baby potentially have low blood pressure and drowsy.
Yeah, so I was just going to say this because
Sorry.
James was amazing the whole time. He was taking his hypnobirthing thing where they said about staying in control of your own birth and asking questions. Not on my mind. I was literally just like saying yes to anything. I was like, yeah, fine, whatever. Like I was chill. But you were so good. You were like, so what would be the alternatives here? And what would be the situation if we took this on board? And I was just listening, and it made me feel so like,
good.
yeah, it made me feel like so in control because I knew that you were, you know, making sure you and me were going to be happy with all the decisions, and that I felt like he explained it to you and I could hear him, and then I was like soothed by that and stuff, you know?
That's good, because at the time I was doing it and I was like, I could just imagine
Did you
Cass
feel
going,
silly?
shut up. Just get the drugs in
No, I liked it.
Okay, good.
I
Because it was
liked
what we spoke about beforehand,
because
wasn't
it
it?
was-
To like go
yeah.
through it all.
And it was such huge decisions. Like we'd literally been like, we went from having a home birth and literally writing on a home plan, like, please don't offer us, you know, pain relief. Please don't. And that was another thing. Oh my gosh, I'd written.
Oh, regrets, hey?
I had written on my birth plan. Do not offer us pain relief. Like we'll say if we want pain relief.
So specifically gas and air, because Carys was 100% open to the idea of having gas and air, but we thought, Carys decided that rather than be offered it,
I was gonna
she
ask.
would ask for it when she wanted it.
Yeah, because I knew I was going to ask for it. But I thought it was I don't know, it wasn't on my mind to ask for it in the hospital at all. And
Because
I
there was
just
a good
thought,
like hour and a half between getting there and the epidural.
yeah, and I was like, oh, I don't think they'll give it, I don't think they're going to give it to me now, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, afterwards, I was like, oh, I wish I could have had the gas and air. And the woman was like, oh, well, you should have said, I really wanted to offer the gas and air to you, love, but I couldn't because it said on your birth plan not to offer it to you. I was like,
Not the annoying thing, it was amazing. Everyone who looked after us read our birth plan. We had about 3 or 4 or 5 different doctors. Every one of them came in and went, oh, I'm so sorry, your birth hasn't gone as your birth plan. And I was like, and it was so, and then afterwards we were like, why did they read it? Why didn't they just offer us gas?
I know, literally, I was fuming. I was like, I wanted that gas and air. Anyway, so that was funny. So yeah, James asked about the alternative, which was the drugs. They said, we don't really recommend them. They make you and the baby very drowsy, and then it's more than likely that you're going to have a drowsy baby, drowsy you. The drugs aren't going to have worked enough anyway, and you're going to have an epidural anyway. So we made the decision to have an epidural because that seemed like the right option.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is when it just, everything was just the opposite of what was on our birth plan. We were obviously still open to anything, and none of it was stressing me out. Like I just felt really safe, I felt in control, I felt really positive.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was ready to have this baby and to get better and to first both to be safe. So we had the epidural, and then it was...
I didn't have it.
Oh, the guy actually... You were just numb also from the waist down.
I was just on the bed next to her like, why did I have this again?
Yeah, so the epidural, basically, if you didn't know, it basically numbs you from the tummy down to your feet. It's incredibly powerful. You literally, at the end of when the process is done, cannot feel a thing. No contractions, no nothing. And obviously epidurals are different for everyone, so they don't always work 100% effectively.
He said if you stay still, this can take 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Otherwise it could take up
Like
to
an
an hour.
hour.
And Carys was incredible. Like we just stopped during the surgeries, but you stayed, you kept your shoulders relaxed. It was really good.
Again,
and it was done within 10 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was done really quickly.
Yeah.
And it obviously worked really effectively because I couldn't feel a blooming thing. It was crazy.
Okay, so we're in the hospital. It's it's not quite gone to plan.
People say
But we're happy, we're positive.
the births don't go to plan.
Yeah.
I never quite understood.
We thought it wasn't going to happen to us, but here we are.
Everything's happened the wrong way round, but it's been amazing and positive still. And I just couldn't have done it without James.
Oh, I couldn't have done it without you, Carys. No, so yes, we're just kind of waiting now to try to get baby Amber out. There has been a few complications, which, you know, we're not going to go into detail now, as we're just going to try and stay calm and relaxed, but I'm sure we'll chat through it another time.
Yeah, I'm feeling good though.
Yeah, it is actually surprisingly very calming in here.
We've got the candles, they've dimmed the lights, they read my birth plan, they're talking really hush, it's amazing.
Yeah, really appreciate it, it's good.
What happened next?
So the epidural went in, and at that point we were just ensuring that the blood pressure came down.
Oh, yeah.
So we had about 4 or 5 hours, and then after that the doctors were happy that the blood pressure was low enough.
Yeah.
And that is when then they went on to saying, okay, so we would now like to induce you.
Yes.
Yeah. Because that's a whole different drug.
You're right.
Yeah.
We were just onto the whole other thing that didn't want to happen, which was induction. So we'd already ticked off epidural, hospital birth, all of those things, as much intervention as possible. And then they wanted to induce me, which again was just to get the baby out as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Induction happens for so many different reasons. It was something I was really worried about before, but during this time I was like, induce me up and get this baby out, like we're ready. So
again, another doctor came in. Do you want to go for it?
No, you go for it. I can't even
You
remember.
can't remember it. Another doctor came in and just said that, they were happy with the blood pressure. They would now like to, and again reiterated that the only way to cure preeclampsia, I think this is where they had the main chat about it, the only way to cure, I don't know if cure is the right word, preeclampsia was to birth the placenta. And you obviously can't birth the placenta until you birth the baby. And so they would like to induce you. Anyway, yes, so induced, I think you were induced about 7 p.m. And they said that, this could take hours and hours and hours. They then check every 4 hours to see how the inducing's going, and they expect you to dilate to 4 centimetres by 4 hours, and then 2 centimetres
God, you know
extra.
so much detail.
Yeah, and then 2, oh yeah, gosh, Kaz, this wasn't a minor event, it does stick with me.
I was just like, clearly like, yeah, whatever.
It was quite funny at this point, because Kaz wasn't kind of feeling much at all. It was just like, we were just having a chat,
chilling.
watching Modern Family. It was great, wasn't it? You and
Just
I
waiting for me to dilate, which
it's
did happen quite quickly, actually.
Well, that was the point, isn't it? So we thought it could have taken about 10 hours, but induced at 7, and by 11:15, 10 centimetres dilated, and she could see the head.
She's
just ridiculous.
Ready to push.
After an hour.
After an hour, so
we had
they
a
do.
passive hour.
Yeah, they do a passive hour, which just allows the baby's head to come down naturally as much as possible within that hour. Obviously, if you're not having an epidural, your body is getting ready to push and goes into a pushing stage, and that's just Mila's nose.
You can just see.
You can't have a passive hour or anything because your body just starts pushing and you go along with it and everything. So, I was really excited for feeling my body, doing all the different stages and feeling it push and doing all that. And so that's something obviously that I, wanted and wasn't able to have. But there were so many other benefits to what we went through, such as being so relaxed, chilling together, watching Modern Family.
There are definitely undeniable benefits of having the epidural.
Oh, yeah.
Kaz was just so chilled.
It was a really, really lovely experience.
There's so much we've missed though.
Really?
So one was that you had a little poopy inside of you, probably.
Oh, yeah, I didn't have a poopy inside of me.
Kaz didn't poop inside herself.
Yeah, that was true. So they were. Oh yeah, that was a little bit before,
and
wasn't
the
it?
other thing was that because you were on the magnesium for your blood pressure, you were on massive fluid restriction, and you couldn't eat anything either.
Two downsides we missed out.
Yeah.
So the midwife was checking my pads, checking my waters and stuff. So my waters had broken naturally, and she took off my pad, and it was like greeny browny. And so what can happen is if the baby gets a bit distressed, they can do a poo inside you, which is called meconium.
I still don't remember the name, but yeah, it is
yeah.
meconium or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And if there's like greeny stuff that comes out when your waters break, it shows that the baby's done a poo, the baby's distressed, more reason for the baby to need to come out ASAP, more reason to be induced, up the dose, get the baby out, blah, blah, blah. Lots to talk about.
And you were on water restriction.
I was on water restriction because of the magnesium drug, so I was only allowed like 50 millilitres, like a literal shot, that is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's literally
double
nothing.
shot or whatever. Of water every hour, so I was really thirsty and I was allowed this tiny trickle of water, and we were like syringing it out, and I was taking a sip every like 20 minutes, and that was horrible. That was not very nice, and obviously I wasn't allowed to eat either, and I threw up. Oh my gosh, we forgot to say I threw up in the morning.
Oh my gosh, so much.
Guys, I missed out another thing that I was really scared about, which was throwing up. In the house, just after they told me I was going into hospital, we were waiting for the ambulance, and I felt really ill, and I threw up everything, my breakfast. It was lovely, just like, but at this point, I did not care. that was, you know, honestly quite relieving. Yeah, usually I'm really terrified of being sick, but in the time I felt good. I felt like this is fine. I can do this. I know it happens to loads of people. And it, you know, it's a temporary thing. You throw up, it's all good. Your body's doing it for a reason. It's getting out your system. You're getting ready to have a baby. So that was fine. So anyway, that was when we were back in the house. Jumped back to the hospital, water restriction. Meconium.
And then, so just before Cara started pushing, the midwife kind of sat down and talked through everything with us, and said that, and again, this is something that didn't quite go to plan, because of the meconium, they often, when the baby's born, often they naturally cry, which is great, but if they don't, you know, you often see the midwives, you know, give them a good rub to like force them to cry. Because of the meconium, they don't do that in case the baby has inhaled some of it. And so they instead have a baby doctor to get the baby to cry in a bit more of a specialist way. And so she did then break it to us that when the baby comes out, they would need to do quick cord clamping and for Amber to go straight to see the baby doctor on the other side of the room where they kind of have the baby stuff all set up.
So again, that was something that we had put in our birth plan and talked a lot about, which was delayed cord clamping we wanted, which is when you allow the blood to go in, all the blood from the placenta to go into the baby through the cord before you cut the cord. And we also, one of the things I was most keen on having was the baby straight out of me and onto my chest for skin on skin. That was probably one of the hardest things to hear that I wasn't going to be able to have, and probably one of the hardest times of the birth was when that happened, but we can explain that in a minute. Yeah. So next came the pushing at 10 centimeters. So when you have an epidural, obviously you don't feel the contractions or anything coming, and you don't feel the pushing of your body. So the pushing technique, which again is hilarious because in the birth plan it was like, I don't want to push my baby out.
Forced pushing.
I don't want coached pushing. I just want to breathe my baby out using innovative technique. So other technique we learned, which we've done in a past video, was, you know, breathe the baby out and all that. And that's fab if you're doing that, and it can happen like that.
If you're not on the epidural.
If you're not on the epidural. With the epidural, you have to breathe in really quickly, hold your breath and squeeze as if you're doing a poo. So it's like, and you squeeze and hold for as long as you can. Breathe out, breathe in, squeeze, hold, and you get about 3 during each contraction, and they tell you when to do it.
They can tell the contraction because they're monitoring Carys the entire time, so they could see on the graph kind of when the contractions were coming.
Yeah, and that was really cool, and the midwife was amazing. She was just like the perfect midwife to have. She was totally like down with everything, and like she made me feel so supported and empowered. She was just amazing. And anyway, I just remember really positive vibes of her. She was like, come on Carys, you can do it. We did pushing. It usually takes about 1 to 2 hours. Our pushing stage only took 40 minutes, which was really positive.
You're so bad at that. I love you.
I know,
like,
because
I pushed
so strong.
Still got it even after no James.
Guys, I pushed so hard I projectile vomited. So I am proud of myself. Once again, didn't want to vomit. Did vomit all over me. So yeah, I was like, I did one massive push, and honestly, at the time I was like, this is so bad for you. Like, I was seeing black and white. Like, you are squeezing in such an unnatural way and forcing this baby out of you when you can't feel anything. It felt so unnatural. Well, obviously it just was, but yeah, obviously I'd squeezed so hard, everything was going to come up and out. So I was like, I feel sick. Did I throw it before she even got the bowl there? But then it was there for she got the bowl there. Yeah. Oh, I held it in. She got the bowl, threw it up into my mouth. James was holding the bowl.
No, I'm
James
sorry.
just holding the bowl.
I'm so embarrassed.
And he just tipped the bowl because I think you were looking at something else or you were focusing on something else.
No, what happened was I was holding the bowl and then you were projectile vomiting, so I picked up one end. It was just so stupid, just not thinking in the moment.
Oh, you were trying to catch it, weren't you?
So I was picking it up to catch it as it was coming out, and then obviously the bottom half just tipped onto you.
All down me. But do you remember, I wasn't even upset.
You weren't that upset.
I wasn't upset.
You weren't that upset.
I thought I was laughing.
I think you did laugh a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember being upset because like I wasn't in pain or anything, and I was just like.
I was so apologetic. I think you just told me to shut up and get on.
I was like, it's fine. Like I remember that as like really funny, a funny experience. Like I don't remember being upset at all. I don't look back badly on vomiting or having it tipped all over me and then nearly throwing up all over the midwife as well.
I think this was one of the hardest things to watch because Carys was literally going blue in the face and her lips were kind of literally purple. It was like you were trying so hard, didn't you? And I know at one point they said that they would do, potentially, if it went on for too long, they would do the cut because Amber was struggling to get through that final kind of passage and massage her way through. So they said, and the last thing you want is the baby in distress. So yeah, they said that, and I think that made you push even harder then.
I think she said the word episiotomy and she shot out with my... she shot out.
And again, before they spoke about...
Forceps. Vacuums. They used all of that if the baby's struggling to get out at the end. And yeah, so then we had we did a set of pushing, her head popped out, and then I did one last push.
I could see her head, it was crazy.
And I could feel it as well.
Yeah, she said, didn't you touch the head? Didn't you touch the head?
I did. And then we did one last push and her body flew out, and obviously the camera had turned off by then.
The camera had turned off. I know, because it only recorded for 20 minutes, which I don't know why we didn't think about that beforehand, but to think that the pushing was going to start and finish in 20 minutes was... well, very optimistic.
All I wanted was to capture her coming out and hear her cry, but it wasn't on my mind at the time. I was like, I think the camera's off, but that's fine. She's out, and I'm just so happy. So yeah, she came out.
I could see her out first, because again, you were up in stirrups because that was the only way you could push. And I could see her, and she'd had the cord like around her body and her neck, like all kind of newborns do. So they were just unwrapping the cord,
really?
And she was like her usual usual baby blue purple. And she let out a cry all on her own, which was really good to hear because kind of you're like, please cry, please cry, please cry, even though you know there's a chance that she couldn't, and that the baby doctor at this point was over standing in the corner, and yeah, the midwife just kind of held her up, did a quick cord cutting, and then took her straight over to the doctor, which was hard, wasn't it?
It was really hard, and she was I was really emotional as well, and I was crying as well because I was just so happy that she was here. And yeah, that was the hardest part when she got taken by the baby doctor, but obviously I wanted her to be taken because I wanted them to do all the checks and all the scores. But she was there for a little while, and I think we were both just staring, and the midwife kept saying to James, you can go over and see the baby, and I knew that you didn't want to go over and see her without me.
I felt terrible. Like, I know Carys wouldn't have minded really, but like you were clinging onto my hand, and me and Carys were kind of having a moment, and I just felt so horrifically guilty that I was able to walk across the room to see our baby and you weren't. So
I know. I knew you didn't want to go and see her without me.
We stayed together looking after each other, didn't we?
We did. We waited patiently for you. And then she was able to come over, which was just the best, most amazing.
It was about 5-6 minutes, which was obviously longer than anyone kind of wants. But like Carys said, it needed to happen to put our minds at rest, and just for the safety of Amber. And I think that is so much of labour and birth, is getting this balance between medicine and nature, like making sure your baby's safe and healthy and looked after, but also kind of wanting to do the skin on skin and having her or him for yourself.
Exactly. But we eventually got skin on skin. Eventually, it was only like 5 minutes, but it felt like forever.
And she wanted to feed straight away. She was looking for the boob, wasn't she?
She was looking for my boob straight away, and again, that was something I really wanted to do, was like just let her breastfeed and let her feed for as long as she wanted, and we were able to do that, which was really nice. And I was like, she's looking for my boob, she's looking for my boob, please can I sit up in a position and breastfeed her? And yeah, that's pretty much the birth story.
Yeah.
What else happened?
So you couldn't breastfeed straight away because you were still up in the stirrups kind of waiting, so you couldn't get her to your boob, but she was really looking for it. It was really quite amazing,
she was like,
wasn't it? Yeah.
Looking like that, and it was amazing. But yeah, it wasn't long till, because they knew that I really wanted to breastfeed straight away, it wasn't long till they'd done all the stuff. I birthed the placenta and everything.
Yeah, so again, you got injected to birth the placenta, which was again a no on the birth plan. But again, like that was the whole point of being induced, was to get the placenta out as quickly as possible.
So obviously we were fine with that. And then we were able to just be in our newborn bubble with her, breastfeeding and touching her and smelling her and watching her.
Yeah.
it's just so crazy. Like, I can't believe that she was in my belly and they come out and you're just like, how was that in my stomach?
I know.
How did we create such a perfect angel?
So she was born just before 1 a.m. I think the official time was 12:57 on the early hours of Easter Sunday, Sunday the 4th of April. So that's her birthday, the 4th of April, which also, guys, is apparently her due date, which we got wrong throughout the entire pregnancy. What actually happened was that the 3rd of April is the date's due date, so they go off the date of your last period and stuff like that. But then 4th of April is the scan date due date, which is what they officially go off in the UK. And so she was born officially on her due date on the 4th of April at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Weigh in?
£7 and 10 ounces.
£7 and 10 ounces.
Oh, yeah, and you've got a little sister, huh?
And you're blocking Mummy's face on So yeah, and that was it. Like, do we want to talk about you staying in hospital and stuff, or leave all that?
Yeah, so I think
we could quickly fly through it.
Yeah, because we've got we've got the videos coming up now of like bringing her home from the hospital and stuff, and I think we cover a little bit of it in there, but just to sum it up here, so then I had to stay in hospital for 2 nights. We did the night of the baby, the night of, like, obviously the night she was born.
We did that together.
Sunday you were allowed to stay.
No, I left Sunday morning, didn't I? Like 10 a.m.
in that room.
Yeah.
Gosh, that feels like a long time
I
ago.
know.
Oh my goodness. And then I got moved to a different ward, and I was there for another night, and they wanted 24 hours of observations on baby for the pooing, meconium and all of that. And originally they wanted 72 hours of observations for me, for the preeclampsia, because it can stay around in the body for quite a while after.
I think 48 hours after birth is the crucial time.
Yes, is the crucial amount. So, they did a lot of observations, had my blood pressure taken really regularly, lots of medications, all that kind of stuff. And then after 48 hours, they allowed me to go because my blood pressure had stabilised. And I was on blood pressure medications, which I'm still on now and will be on for however many weeks it takes for the blood pressure to come down, because the blood pressure can take a while to come down after you've had preeclampsia. And then I've also got some stomach injections to be doing, which like thin my blood and stop me having blood clots and all of that. So lots of sort of serious things to keep an eye on and take care of, just to make sure that things stay stable for the next few weeks, because it can stay around for a little while. But all I wanted, again, the hardest part was being that night without you in hospital.
That was hard for me as well.
Yeah.
But no doubt harder for you.
I don't know how I would have coped if I was you and had to go home and not see your baby for the first night.
You?
I know.
Mainly you.
Yeah. That was really hard, but you know what, I think it was good for me because it really forced me straight away to become independent with the baby, because I know that I'm the type of person to be like, oh James, like, come and change your nappy with me, come and do this.
Yeah.
And you kind of just got thrown into a whole, change the nappy, sleep, figure out what she's like, do this, do that all throughout the night kind of thing. And yeah, I don't know, I feel like it gave me a lot of confidence to be a good mum and to, I don't know, just deal with whatever comes your way, because this is it now, isn't it? You've got a whole new responsibility, and all I care about is that she's safe and that I'm safe and that we're doing the best things for her.
I think even outside all the major benefits of kind of being in the hospital, actually having kind of a safe birth and Amber being safe and well, is that you kind of get to see the hospital staff handle the baby, which again gives you confidence that even though they are quite fragile, they're not going to kind of break in half every time you hold them.
No, exactly.
And also like breastfeeding tips and stuff like that. But
that's some really
I think just trying to make sure like this stays as a positive. But Carys afterwards straight away was like, oh no, like I definitely view that as a positive birth.
It was such a positive birth.
Which was kind of quite incredible, because I didn't think you'd view it that way.
It was, honestly, I loved every second of it. And it just sounds so silly because it was so opposite to what I wanted, but it was perfect. It was literally, I felt supported, I felt safe, I felt like all the practices that we'd learned, we put into play. I felt like we kept it as calm and as positive as possible, given that we had to do all these things to keep me and the baby safe, and that is all that matters, and that is all you know that matters at the end of the day, was that that you came out safe and happy, and you've been an absolute dream.
Definitely.
So yeah, we have lots of videos coming with
and what I was going to say as well is just for anyone who's, you know, like obviously it didn't go to our birth plan at all, but Amber is kind of breastfeeding incredibly well, and like we couldn't be happy with how that's going.
Yeah.
So just things like that, like yes, skin on skin is important early on, it really is, but it's not the absolute end of the world if you don't have that instant skin on skin. In terms of like Amber and Carys have been great, and Mila is just waiting to go out on her dog walk.
Oh, bless her. So yeah, because that's really true. Like I think I was very panicky that if I don't get skin on skin, if I don't delay the cord clamping, if I don't do this, she's not going to breastfeed well, she's not going to do this well, she's not going to do that well.
She's not going to be comforted by us.
Yeah, it just wasn't the case. And we also didn't want other people handling her, because we thought it would help our bond with her and us be able to comfort her. Every person in the hospital. Tom, Dick and Harry had held her before we had, but it hasn't stopped anything. It hasn't made a difference at
And we're
all.
not saying that people who, like, and we're not saying it doesn't make a difference,
Oh,
but
we
it hasn't
do
made a
it,
difference to us. And I think just in terms of trying not to get too upset and too worried and too stressed about it, if you're someone who, you know, wants all those things but don't get it, because you know, you can still have, it can still be very positive, and you can still have
Like,
good
again,
breastfeeding and still have good comfort and
next time around we'll put that we'd love to hold her before everyone else, and that we'd love to, because we believe those things are positive, and that's what we'd want. But if everything goes pear-shaped again and goes the opposite way, we know it can be a very positive experience. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We've got lots of videos coming. She probably will look a little bit different when you see her in the other videos, because to me, when she was born, she was just such a little chubby chunkster, and now she's just like grown into her cheeks a little bit. So you'll have to see what she looks like, and she's so cute.
Yeah, I love her to bits. I'm absolutely smitten. Yes, I love you too.
We love you.
We do.
We do.
Lots of cool videos. You know, we got bringing us home. We got meeting Mila for the first time. Our little pooper here.
Lots.
So yeah, lots of good videos. So make sure you subscribe and turn your notice on if you're new. We've got kind of, I don't know, we're just taking it as it comes. We're kind of counting this as a bit of maternity and paternity leave, and kind of whatever the videos will be. There could be one a week that's long, there could be 3 a week that's short, we don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so make sure you subscribe and turn your notice on, because they could be here, there and everywhere.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for following our journey. Thank you for being so invested in our birth plan and being so excited for her arrival, and so interested to hear our story and our experience and all your amazing messages of support and love. Like, I just felt so excited for you guys to know what had happened, and I knew that you'd really want to know she was here, and that just made, I don't know, it just made it even more exciting to share it with all of you. So thank you, and we will see you in the next video, and we love you so much.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.